In this video, I'm looking at Made in Heaven by Be-Bop Deluxe. And this one was quite recently requested, I think by somebody over on my Patreon page. And I know it's been requested in the past as well. I just never got round to it before this point. And this is such an amazing song. It contains some amazing guitar work from the great Bill Nelson. And one of the things that I hope you can get from this video, beyond just learning the song itself, is an understanding of how to put together creative and interesting rhythm guitar parts. There's so much cool stuff going on in this tune. We've got interesting chords, great use of triads, interesting rhythms and syncopations, and it's just really inventive and compelling. So I'm going to play through a bit of the tune for you now, and then I will break down what's going on. So there we have it. I didn't, in fact, just play a bit of the song. I played the entire thing and I couldn't help myself. But it's not a very long song. Anyway, that's one of the things I like about this tune is it's, I think, 2.5 minutes, but there are so many ideas packed into that 2.5 minute running time. Now, let me tell you a little bit about this tune. And I'm not going to pretend to be particularly knowledgeable about Be-Bop Deluxe or Bill Nelson. He's obviously a fantastically gifted guitar player and songwriter, but for one reason or another, I've never properly explored his music, but I should probably put that right. But I can tell you that this one is from 1975, and the song was a single. It was also included on the album Futurama, and there's lots of great live footage floating around on YouTube, in particular a great Old Grey Whistle Test performance, which is well worth checking out. And the whole Futurama album is very strong. It's produced by the great Roy Thomas Baker, famous for producing multiple Queen albums and the Cars as well, I think. But let's get down to business. I'm going to break down the various riffs and ideas in this tune section by section. With this one, it is quite a produced track. There are overdubs, different layers of guitar. So what I'm going to do for the most part is just give you a nice playable version of this track that you can play as one guitar part. So I'm kind of condensing and combining some of the different overdubs that you can hear on the original recording. We're in the key of D major, starting with an introduction played using power chords. So I'm doing it like this. This this is starting on an F5 or an F power chord, and you can play that here at the 8th fret with the 5th string root. So this is just 8, 10 and 10, letting that chord hang. Then we're moving down 3 frets. This is a D5, and then moving that across to an A5. This is now a 6th string root A power chord. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 1. And right away we've got some rhythmic interest. So the D and the A, those are played on upbeats or offbeats. We've got that syncopation happening. So the D is played on the and of 1. It's 1 and 2 and the A is played on the and of 2. 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 1, 2, 3, 4, 1. So if you're not able to feel that right away, it's important to count that out. Make sure you're placing these chords in the correct place rhythmically. Another feature of this is the rhythmic use of the vibrato arm. So on that sustained F power chord, you can hear that Bill Nelson is pumping on the vibrato arm in an 8th note kind of rhythm. It's 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 1. So if you've got a guitar with a whammy bar, then give that a try as well. So we play that riff a couple of times, then we go just taking the F chord up 2 frets to a G power chord. That's the way I did it in my little playthrough, but you've got some options here. You could play the same chords down at this end of the neck. So play an F5 like this down in the 1st position, an octave lower. So, and then the D and the A power chords down in the open position. That's how I've seen Bill Nelson play it in some live footage, but on the original recording, maybe it's a combination of those two things. It is quite a layered and produced track. There are sort of multiple guitar parts going on here, but it does sound like one of them is playing that F5 a bit higher up the neck, but it's up to you how you decide to do that. And then we're into the fantastic little intro guitar solo. It's the bit that goes like this. Great licks here. All the notes are, you can think of them as coming from the D major pentatonic scale. So you might like to visualize those notes, the D major pentatonic scale, in this area of the fretboard. So one thing that I like to do is to associate chord shapes and scales. It's a very useful thing to do. So we've got our kind of one chord, our home chord here, this D major bar chord. Around that we can find the notes of the D major pentatonic scale. And we're using the highest notes of that scale to play this riff, this bit. So we're just playing on the top pair of strings here, and you're going to want to just flatten down your first finger at the 10th fret on the 1st and 2nd strings, and then you're pulling off from 12 to 10, and you can use your 3rd finger or your 2nd finger to do that. So it's a 12 to 10 pull off, and then we're striking the 2nd string. So a group of 3 notes, and then we're doing a similar kind of thing, but we're reaching up for this 14th fret note on the top string. So you can play that with your little finger, or perhaps stretch up with your 3rd finger. And then we're just going back and forth between the 12th fret and the 14th fret. So and you're going to want to pay attention again to the rhythm here. This is interesting because it's a group of 3. The lick is based on groups of 3 notes, but it's played in a kind of 16th note rhythm. So we're not playing it as triplets. We're not playing 1 and a 2 and a 3 and a 4 and it's more like this. So 2, 3, 4, 1 E and a 2 E and a 3 E and a 4 E and which is potentially a little bit tricky, I think. So if you can't feel that naturally, just slow it down, make sure you're establishing where the beat is, and you're establishing that kind of 16th note rather subdivision. So 1 E and a 2 E and a. Just playing that top note one more time, and then we've got this. So coming down lower, it's 9 and an 11 on the 3rd string, ending on this B, then it repeats. But with a slightly different ending. So we've now got 9, 11 and 9 on the B string. Then more power chords. So this is D power chord, then down to an E5, and then just some single notes there. So 2 and 3 on the 6th string. It's a B power chord, so 2nd fret on the 5th string, and then on into the next riff. Another option that you've got is to continue that little guitar solo underneath those power chords. So in my playthrough at the start of this video, I just went down to the play those power chords, but over the top of that you can hear something like this. So that's a nice little part to play as well. Again, it's just D major pentatonic, but we're working our way higher up the neck. So we've got these kind of diagonal patterns of the major pentatonic scale that I like to use quite a lot. So this kind of idea. So just climbing up, using slides for the most part through several different positions of the pentatonic scale. I have done a complete video where I discuss these diagonal pentatonics, and I certainly go into it in quite a lot of detail in my next level soloing course. So if you're unfamiliar with this concept, you might like to check that out. But that's all that's going on with this solo here. So we're starting at the 12th fret. So sliding up into the next position. And that sets us up for this high bend. So I'm bending at the 17th fret on the top string. And just letting that sustain, I think, for 3 or 4 bars. Moving on, the next little riff is the one that goes like this. So it's based on this classic rock and roll move. You hear this all over the place. So Rolling Stones, obviously, All Right Now, it's that kind of sound. And it's really just going between an A chord and then this shape here. So I'm putting my 3rd finger down. This is 4 on the D, and my 2nd finger is going down 3 on the B string, which is really a D. It's a D chord, or a D triad, inverted D triad, if you want to sort of think theoretically. But it's really just a shape-based thing, and we're going back and forth between those two shapes. We're actually pulling off from the 4th and 3rd frets, just pulling off into that A chord shape, and the rhythm is this. The verse kicks off like this. So starting on a D chord, and then A, barring with my 1st finger there, then G, or really I think I'm playing a G power chord here. So 3, I'm just muting the 5th string, open, open, 3 and 3. And we've got some more of these emphasized offbeats, this syncopation. So 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and then a series of muted strums. I'm just resting my fretting hand to deaden the strings. 16th note strums. And then we're continuing like this. So this is just B minor. There's bar chords here. To F sharp minor. Then B minor. A. And then a G chord. And more syncopation. So it's 1, 2, 3 and 4 and 1 and 2 and 3, 4. Then we're continuing. So that's just D, walking up on the 6th string and falling into that G chord shape. I was playing the 6th string and then some upbeats played on the top strings. 1, 2, 3, and 4, and 1, and 2, 3. Then we're into this great descending series of arpeggios. This is quite a big feature of this tune. So starting off, it's kind of 4th string open, and then 4th fret, and then 2nd fret on the 3rd string. This is D, F sharp, and A. It's really a D major arpeggio. And then this shape here, so 4, 2, and 2. And this is, I suppose that's a triad shape. It's an A major triad in the first inversion. And then we've got, this is another triad shape. It's really the same major triad shape moved down. So it's 2, open, and open. That's a G chord. And then we've got, this is an arpeggiated G chord. So it's 3, 2, open, and open. So if I put all of that together. And more of these rhythmic pushes happening here. So 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 1 and 2 and 3 and 4. And we're just repeating that. Then we're round again for another verse, which I think is played the same way. Very end it changes slightly. We're walking down into what I'm going to call the bridge section of the tune. So we're kind of walking down to a kind of E minor sound. The bridge section then starts like this. So it's kind of an E minor sound, as I said, but he's not playing a big E minor chord. He's actually just playing the root note here. So 6th string going up to a G, and then a D chord, and there's a great little fill here, and it's a triad based fill. So we're on a D chord here, but we're sliding up to this little D major triad. So it's 11, 10, and 10. You could think about that as being the top part of this bar chord shape, but we're just playing an F sharp, an A, and a D, sliding into that shape and just using it as a little fill. And then we're repeating. So that's just going from D to the F sharp minor. Another nice little fill. So it's quite simple. It's just a bend at the 4th fret on the 3rd string, and then coming down to this F sharp. So it's kind of coming out of this. It fits this F sharp minor chord. You could perhaps see it as coming from the F sharp minor pentatonic scale. So you could steal this idea. Whenever you're on a minor chord like that, you've got those notes available to create a little bit of a fill. Then we're continuing. So it kind of starts the same way. Then we've got D, F sharp minor, going to G, and then we're back to this riff. We go around for another verse played the same as before, but it ends slightly differently. So when we hit this bit, we're just repeating that. This is the Made in Heaven for You bit. So I think we're repeating that 3 times. Then we've got another one of these arpeggio kind of riffs. It's a bit different though, this one. So it's using the same notes to start with. So groups of 3 notes. Then we're going to this. It's kind of 5th string 2 and 2. Then we're going down further. That's 3, 2, open. That's 2, open and open. And then just hitting the open 6th string. So we've got these groups of 3 notes, but I'm hearing it as played in an 8-note rhythm. So 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 1, that kind of thing. And there is actually, if you're counting it like that, you need to have an odd bar of 2 beats at the end of that phrase. So it's probably best if you just listen to it and try and feel that section of the song. It all kind of makes sense rather than sort of thinking about odd time signatures or anything like that. It kind of makes total sense when you listen to the phrasing and the timing on the record. So just groups of 3. And then we're into a D chord, and we've got this little kind of build section, just playing on a D chord as a little crescendo. So I'm just playing down strokes, 8th notes. And we're into a kind of outro section. So I'm hearing it like this. So I've got the open 4th string and then some little double stops, some thirds here. So 7 and 7 moving down to 6 and 5 and then 4 and 3. So bit of palm muting there. Then we're taking a very similar idea up a little bit higher, so using some triads here. So lots of triads in this tune. It's good to find some kind of usage of triads in a real tune. So triads kind of out in the wild. I'm always talking about triads and how useful they are, but this is a really kind of a solid example of how you can use them to create some fantastic guitar parts. So here I'm just playing a D triad, then going to an A and a G. This is like a D chord shape, but playing it higher up the neck. So I think you can probably just let the open 4th string ring out there as well. And then second time, kind of continuing down more triad shapes. So we're starting with the D, A, G. Now I'm hearing it like this. So we're coming down to a D triad, 7, 7 and 5. Then over onto the next set of 3 strings. This is A shape, moving that down to a G, that's 2 frets lower, and then A to D. So great descending series of triads, which is the kind of final riff that you hear in the tune. So and all very syncopated. 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 1 and 2 and 3. So it's such a cool song, so many great ideas there, and it's all over in 2.5 minutes. So give that a try. You can learn the entire song if you want to, but it's definitely one of those songs you could just kind of comb through it and just take ideas and concepts and use them in your own guitar parts. It's a real kind of masterclass in the way that you can take basic chord progression. All these chords are kind of just D major, key of D major chords, but you can come up with a really interesting guitar part just by using triads, playing in different registers, making things rhythmically interesting. I'm using my Jazzmaster today. I really just needed something with a vibrato. Perhaps it would have sounded better if I'd used a guitar with humbuckers, but I haven't got a humbucker guitar with a vibrato, so I had to use the Jazzmaster. I think it works pretty well on the Jazzmaster. Not sure exactly what Bill Nelson would have used on this recording. I know that in the old Grey Whistle Test live performance he seems to be using I think it's a Gibson 335 with a Bigsby, a super cool looking guitar, and there are some great guitar tones on the original recording and on the whole of the Futurama record. And Roy Thomas Baker, great at getting amazing guitar sounds. I'm certainly hearing a little bit of the Brian May guitar sound on some of the tones on that record. So again, no idea really what was used on that record. If anybody has got any info, I'd be interested to find out. But today I'm just using my Princeton and a couple of pedals, so it's quite a nice sort of sick 70s distortion on the original recording. So I decided to use my Rat pedal, and that's going into my J Rocket Archer overdrive, a sort of clone pedal. It just kind of sounded slightly better having two overdrive pedals on at the same time as opposed to just having the one pedal. It just kind of thickened up the sound a little bit. So that's what I'm doing today, tone wise. And I almost forgot, I've got a couple of other pedals down here as well. You can hear at the very end of the recording there's a flanger sound. So I've got my old Boss BF2 flanger pedal out for the breakdown section and then the final riffs. And I was also using a Phase 90. So on that arpeggio section I can detect a little bit of modulation in the guitar sound. I'm not sure exactly what that is, but a phaser gets quite close to that sound, I think. So I was stomping on the phaser for those arpeggio bits, and then for the outro, the final couple of riffs, I was using the flanger. That's it. Hope you enjoyed the video. I certainly enjoyed putting this one together and exploring Bill Nelson's guitar style a little bit, so maybe I should do some more. If you've got any particular requests, do let me know. If you would like tab to this one, that's of course going to be over on the Patreon page. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you next time.